So we're here today to explain a little bit about how to set up your digital portfolio. So whether you're in Art 3 or in Art 4, you need to know that this is your exam grade for first and second semester. First semester, you obviously set most of it up if you're in Art 3. If you're in Art 4, you're adding to the existing one that you did last year. I've had questions, people say, can I delete the one I started last year? I'm not happy with it. And can I re-edit it dramatically? Yes, you may do that as long as it has all the necessary requirements, which you'll find in Schoology. So you want to make sure that you follow the rubric carefully. I'm not going to go over every point on the rubric here. I'm going to show you some basic tutorials on how to set it up and navigate easier so you're a little less frustrated. So you should refer to this and the rubric that you were supplied both in class as hard copy and also you can see on Schoology. So once you set up a Wix account, and you should have done that already, we actually did that in class. You're going to set up that Wix account and you're going to want to put a password on it. Please remember that this is an independent website, meaning you and only you alone are the only one who can manage this website. I have no access to it unless you share the address to me, the HTML or the HTTP address, at which point I can see it, but I can't edit or make any other corrections or additions to it. So this is all on you. You want to make sure that it is safe and secure so that when you put the contact information down, you do not want to put anything more than your school email address for contact information. So when you see that listed on the handout, as well as when I refer to it in here, mine has more information, obviously, because it's my live and active website. That is mine that I use for business related experiences. But for you, since it's school based, you just want to put your school email address to retain some privacy issues. So once you log on and you set up your site, you're going to see a screen that looks somewhat like this. You're going to see your name at the top, and you probably won't see an actual website because nothing will be on there yet, but you're going to see a button in the middle that says Site Actions. So in your case, you're going to want to edit the site, or in some cases, you may want to view the live site. That assumes that you have one already there. So if you're in Art 4, you might want to just look at the site and cruise around and see what you had from last year. You could also obviously transfer information from the site into a new one. But let's just say that you're setting up a site for the first time. You're going to go and say edit the site, and you're going to create one. Yeah, for the first time. So when you get there, one of the first things you're going to get asked, I'm not going to get asked here because I have one set up, is what kind you want. So you want to make sure that you want to put together an art portfolio. It gives you that to you as one of the options. So what that'll do is make it much more picture dependent and less word dependent. So it's not going to give you a lot of space for written responses. It's not going to give you a lot of space for text. Obviously, we want this to be more heavy in images. Once you've got the basics set up, it's going to ask you probably what kind of template you want. You could certainly use a template. I would recommend making sure that you take, if you're going to use a template, and edit out or strip out everything that's not yours. So you're going to see photos that are stock photos. You're going to see words. You want to make sure you take all that out, because the worst thing you can do is clearly look like, when you're trying to make your own personalized site, that you accidentally left a bunch of stock photos in there because you didn't take the time to edit that out. So please make sure you do that. That falls under that idea of craftsmanship and professional presentation. So let's say you've already set that up. You've got one that says portfolio, and now you're ready to add things. So you will need 4 pages set up on yours, and you can do that very quickly by going to the add button that you'll see running along the far left side. If you click on that add button, it'll then ask you, what do you want to add? A page, text, image, and so forth. So in this case, we want to add a new page. So you're going to click on page. It's very simple. And then talk about the type of page so you're going to use. So it'll say, do you want a site page or a dashboard page? So you want a site page, so that it adds blank page to your website, and then you can customize it again based on the templates that you want to use. But of course, there are going to be times when you want to add text below wording or between images. There will be times you're going to want to click on images. Let's click on images just for a second so you can kind of see. It says here, my upload of images. You want to, yes, go to uploaded images. And here's where you can create a bank of images. So I have all of my artwork uploaded here. So at any time I can go and grab them, and I can edit them accordingly. So you'll see a couple new ones that I've added not too recently, some older pictures that are down here further along. And of course, at any time I can delete images off here, because all I have to do is simply go to crop and edit. Um, we'll go over here to the end, and I can delete the image as well. So there is where you want to upload all the images, so that then at some point when you're done with that, you can hit upload media and you drop and drag it from your computer if you want to put more on there. Okay, so that's how I got all of my images on there. Then, of course, once they're on there, you can again crop and edit them. You will notice every time you upload a picture, you'll see a settings button that allows you to determine what the viewer is going to see. I'm going to move the picture of myself. So if they scroll on top of the image, it'll scroll with the site, it'll freeze so it stays in the same place, it fades out. You can choose a variety of things and you can get as fancy and schmancy as you want. But bottom line, you want to make sure that the entire site is consistent. So if you're going to do something with one image, it's best that you do it with all the images because consistency is key. Think about it sort of like shopping on a website. You have probably gone on a website that's very difficult to navigate. You get very frustrated. What do? You click off the site. You don't purchase something from them. You're unwilling to look. So the easier it is to navigate, the more natural it is, the more someone's going to want to look and shop and peruse your artwork. So make sure that whatever you choose in this list of things, if you're going to do something, is you want to make sure that it's consistent. So one of the things I added at the top that will guarantee that I have it on all of my pages, no matter what I set up, is I put on a header. So when I first started, I double clicked on the top and I have a header design. So I established a header. In other words, basically a banner that runs at the top of my page. And that header then will run on any of my pages. So if I click on my bio page, you can see that the page, it doesn't change. So the navigation tools, my home page, my bio, my artist statement, all stays the same. So I would highly recommend that you set up a header page and a footer page. So that's a bottom page. And you can see at the bottom, mine just has a link to my Instagram account so that again, people can quickly go see my work on Instagram. You could put another header page at the bottom or footer page at the bottom that has the very same directives like bio, previous work, home. You can do all that. I would recommend you just put it at the top. It makes it easy for people to navigate and it's done. And then it's always the same no matter what. While we're on the topic of header and footers, let's talk about the idea of choosing fonts. So if you'll notice here that you can choose from of a wide variety of fonts, just like any website, just like any Google Doc or anything, you can pick the font, the colors, and everything. But again, it should remain consistent. So once you choose it for what in this case would be the header, I chose a different font for then the actual homepage navigation screen. I chose something that was serif based. Meaning they all had little tails or lines. So then I tried to make sure I didn't use that particular font anywhere else, but then I used the artist Christopher J. Triner font everywhere again throughout the work so that it remained the same. So you'll want to do that as well. So let's talk about a few other things real quick. So you need to have 4 pages set up. So my example that I will be sharing with you, this particular website, if you go to my live and active website, I actually have more than the 4. You only need 4. You need one page that's a gallery page. You need a home page, basically a cover page. So what you're viewing here is my cover page. Your cover page should have either a piece of your artwork or an artfully taken selfie of you. People want to get to know you. That's the point of the cover. So they want to get to know who you are. They want to get to know about your aesthetic. They want to know a little bit more about you and they want to see it in one quick image. So again, it could be a piece of artwork. It could be a photo of you, but you should then put at the bottom, if it's a piece of artwork, you need to put the title, the media, and the size measurements on there. So you'll see that floating on there as well at the very bottom. You'll also see that in mine, I have several galleries. You only need one gallery. You can easily label it gallery. Those of you in Art 4, if you want to label the stuff from Art 3 in one gallery and the stuff from Art 4 or AP, you could do that if you wanted to, but one is all that's required. You want a bio page, basically a biography. You're going to want to type a biography. It should be no more than about 2 to 3 paragraphs. Well, you might say, well, I haven't done a lot, Mr. Triner. What do I write about? Well, write about your hopes and dreams. Where do you aspire to go to school? What do you plan on majoring in? Even if it's not art related, that's fine. How many years have you taken art? Have you won any recognition for the artwork you've had? Have you had it in an art show anytime in the past, even as a child? What do you love about art that makes you continue to take it even at this level? What is it that is your passion? Are you in an athletic sport? Are you in some kind of after school activity that makes you dynamic? A biography is just that. It's a very brief overview of who you are, making you dynamic. So again, you could use the same artful selfie, which I have located here. You could also put in just the same image of artwork or another image of work. But again, you should put the title and the media listed in there. So that's my biography page. And then I have an artist statement page. So my artist statement picks one work of art from my portfolio. So you should choose one of the ones that you've already used in your gallery page. use the same exact photo, upload it. In my case, because it was a mural that was installed in the side of the Canton Museum of Art, I actually used photos from the unveiling of that day to give you a better sense of its scale and where it's at. You can notice at the top, it's got the title of the actual work, the year that it was created. You'll see located right here. It's got what it's made of. The original was made of acrylic, and the original size was 24 inches by 24 inches. I then wrote a very brief reflection about the work itself and why it was so important to me and why I enjoyed that work of art so much. You should do that in is yours and well. You want to use vocabulary that you have learned throughout your years. So if there's something specific about the color scheme, mention it. If there's something about texture, pattern, is there a sense of rhythm or movement? What is it about the work? And make sure that you make yourself sound educated about the visual arts. Because again, this is supposed to be your best foot forward, showing that you know everything you can about visual art and specifically this work that you're so passionate about that you wrote about in your artist statement. So those are the 4 pages: your home or cover page, your gallery page, a bio page, and an artist statement. All of them should be made, established, no matter whether you're in Art 3 or in Art 4. If you're in Art 3, you're only going to install 2 works of art from the entire semester. You get to choose them. You put those in that gallery page in addition to, don't forget, the title, the media. So if I click on my particular page that's for my Vibrant City work, you'll notice that I set mine up so that when you scroll over, it gives you the title in quotation marks, it tells you the size, and it tells you what it's made of. And you'll see that I've set it up so every single work is like that. So I had to go in and set those settings. I didn't come that way. So I had to choose the font, I had to choose the size, and I had to choose the media for every single one so that it remained the same. That does take a little bit of fussing, I will tell you. I'm going to go back to my editorial page. So this is the page that you can currently edit. That if I go over here and I want to click on any one of my pages, so I'm going to click on my Vibrant City page here to the side, you can't click on the ones that are actually in the website, because remember, those aren't actually a website. Those are just digital images. So you have to go along the side and click on the page you want. You'll notice that when I click on the image, it tells me manage media. So I can go in and then decide which images I want. And I can also click on settings. And here's where I established what I wanted to happen. So I wanted my layout to be in a collage format. So you can see that on mine. It tells you the settings. So it says when clicking on an item, nothing happens, opens in a full screen, a link opens, you decide. But again, I made sure that it was consistent on every image. I clicked on design. It tells you what kind of text I use. So there's the text I used. When you slide over it and see the title, I used a custom text. And it says here I used Libre Baskerville. So when I clicked on it, all of my fonts are Libre Baskerville, which is originally the sans or the serif font that I used on the very first page. It tells you if I want to use it horizontally or vertically, how I want to align it, all of those things. So if you go to design, settings, it'll tell you then if I want to click on it, what happens. Layout, there's lots of things to choose from. But let me say it again for the 4th time. Whatever you choose to do with one image, you want to do with all of them so that they remain consistent. So those are a few things that you should be aware of. Let's do one other thing, because you might be like me the first time and be a little overwhelmed. There's a lot here, and I know that on this screen. You don't need to be concerned with too much. I would use the add button. The background page or the background button is helpful, so you can establish a background color. You don't need to use add apps in any way. If you want menus or pages, so in other words, if you want to add a new page or you want to add a menu, that's a place to do it. But you might not get this toolbox that's on the right-hand side, which has simple things like delete. It has, so if I want a text box, if I want to change the position. So how do I get that? Well, if you go up to the tools, at the very top of the screen, you're going to see a toolbar that's currently clicked. If I unclick it, it disappears. So for some of my students, when they open the page, their default is no toolbar. So you might want to put that toolbar on there so you can see that. I also like rulers and grid lines and snap to objects. So all of the objects align themselves, and it kind of straightens things out so I don't have things sort of wonkily moving different places. So it sort of is smart enough, it does it all for you. But you can decide that on your own. But I like to snap and have grid lines and rulers on there as well. So that's pretty much it. That's the basics of it. Biggest thing then, and when you end, is that it is not a live and active website until you hit the word publish in the top right corner. So you have to hit the word publish. If you don't, it will not be active. So it will tell you, congratulations, your site is published online. It'll give you your website address again, and it'll ask you if you want to view it. So as soon as I do that, it takes me to the live and active website. I actually toggle between the one I'm making and what it looks like so I can see what other people will see. But again, if you don't hit that publish button, and I have students every year that don't, unfortunately, when the due date comes, if you don't hit publish, I will not have access to your website because you control everything. So please make sure every time you add to your website, you hit the publish button. I would not wait until the end, because if I need to get in, I can help you, I can advise you, but I can't do that unless you share the website with me. So that's pretty much it. Make sure you look at the handout that was given to you in Schoology and that was given to you in person. We'll, of course, talk about this in class. You'll be given in-class days to work on this, but this will be due on exam day in lieu of our exam slot. So you won't have to come into our exam day, but you're responsible for sharing this prior to the exam day so that you can get a grade on it. Good luck, everybody.